So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
You like music, you like weed, well, we gonna be good friends indeed. This is how much I like more than smoking trees. They'll make you dance the do-si-do and teach you how the chiva grows. Smoke a bowl on the 420 radio show. On Lifestyle Radio.
Wah, 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 wah. Somebody gonna say anything? Anybody gonna say something? Somebody gonna say something? What's shaking?
Howdy.
Shaking with the bacon.
Yeah. What's going on? It's the 420 radio
you guys
show.
are just like nuts or something.
We're crazy. We're crazy.
Yeah.
You're always talking about my nuts.
Yeah.
Stop.
Well,
Yeah.
better than talking about mine.
Everybody else heard it, so you can't deny it now.
I've got a nail. I'm going to turn them into walnuts.
It's such a little subject to talk about.
Well, you know. We have a special guest today.
Hi.
Who has joined us
That
from...
was sultry. Hi. How are you?
Yeah.
Hello. What's up?
Is that
How
better?
you doing?
Good. How are you, Chris?
Fantastic.
Yeah. So Deborah Middleton is here with us, who is Ross's better half.
Ah, okay.
So
The awesome half.
now we have not one, but two of them, Marcel.
Yeah, two of the profiteers. This is like pirate night.
Arr, matey. This be my wench.
Oh,
It
honey.
must be
You
his
And-
brood.
know I'm your little cookie cutter, right?
You said that, honey, not me.
So we're going to
Just remember that in the future when you're beating me.
Yes, this afternoon they had a big argument, so we're just going to sit back and let them finish it. Yep, that's it,
Taking
man.
bets? I'll put 20 on Deb.
Don't put money on me.
No, I'll put 20 on Deb.
There you go. I know, even though I have a bad hip, I can still outrun him, right? So
You got that right, yeah. But I do carry a stick. It's made out of hickory.
Is it in a bag with a whole bunch of other ones?
No, it's really a hickory stick, and it's curved on the end. And if you
Stop
and if you
talking about your
misbehave,
penis,
I rap
Ross.
you on the forehead with it.
Stop talking about your penis, Ross. Okay.
Only you would say that.
Yes.
I was talking with a bag of chips.
I know he was talking about the hickory sticks. I like
Hickories.
those.
I like those
love
too.
those.
Yeah.
And I had to go make it uncomfortable.
But I like the plain potato sticks better than the hickory ones.
Yeah,
The ones are alright.
Adults.
But they're harder to find.
I know, but there's no MSG in it. I mean, what fun is that?
I like pretzels myself. I enjoy them thoroughly. Pretzels.
Pretzels,
These pretzels
are
are
Yeah.
making me thirsty.
Yep.
good. They do, but so do
Are
the
you-
hickory sticks.
Are
'cause
you
all
having
that
pretzels,
MSG.
Chris? You're having. That's what you're having right now, Chris. Pretzels.
No. I was just going with a Seinfeld. But you had to call me on it, Dick. You couldn't just let it go.
No, he's
No.
Sorry. No, I'm not.
So what's going on, guys?
Well, we don't have a guest today, so
I
Deborah.
thought we had Deborah.
Well, just
Middleton
let me
as a
finish my
What do you mean we
sentence.
don't have a guest?
That's cold.
Maybe
Well,
we
that's
should
cool. That's
ask her why
that's just
she
cruel.
wants to be a guest.
Deborah, would you ask them to shut up for a minute so I can finish my sentence?
There was more to that.
Yes, we didn't have a guest, so Ross suggested that we invite his lovely wife, who I had the pleasure of seeing a couple of days ago.
Who I had the pleasure of seeing back in July.
Because Deborah actually is quite the talented, would you say, horticulturalist, botanist, little both?
I call her a horticulturalist, but she gets modest and says, "Oh, honey, I don't have a degree." But you know what? If you're an expert at horticulture, you are a horticulturalist.
no, I just don't know all the Latin names for all of the plants.
No, she only knows 85% of the Latin
you know
names,
what?
so-
Then that means you need to find a Latin boyfriend on the side,
Hey,
and then you can practice when you go home to see your lovely husband.
don't give her any ideas.
Yeah, somebody like a priest.
named Guido Sarducci.
Latin's well-used language still.
Oh.
For priest, though, she'd be too old and the wrong gender, right?
Right. So you know that she's going to be safe.
Yeah, exactly. This is true.
Tu es muy loco en la cabeza. We speak Spanish to each other all the time. It's like the Addams family. Remember, cara mia.
Anyways,
let's go back. Let's go back to the
here.
unpapered horticulturalist.
Yes.
Yeah. Both Ross and Deb are helping us with the grow segments, and we need some more.
Hint, hint. Yes. Cultivation Nation has been a while. The next one is going to be so awesome.
Is it?
You're just going to love it. Yes.
Wow.
It's going to be all about harvest.
I'm horny with anticipation.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all going to be about harvesting because that's the time of year it is.
It is. And
That's right, it's all
actually,
about the
tonight
cycles.
is the harvest moon.
Don't give away the whole thing yet, Deb.
Yeah, don't be a spoiler.
Not too much. We can give away tidbits.
Don't be an owl.
Hey, Chris, we need to talk after the show. So we're just gonna kick back. Oops, my mic keeps kicking out. We've got some new stuff that we're playing with, and we're gonna sit back and talk. And somebody's in the chat room. So if you're listening and you want to join in the conversation, come on in the chat room. I just might allow you guys to start up your cameras and stuff.
And if you're not listening, we're going to be in here talking about you.
Yeah, like Chrissy,
somebody else is entering.
Chrissy just came in, and
Hopefully
there's
it's not
guest
Ross.
7029490. It's just like prison.
Oh, wait. Okay. New computer. I got to re-enter everything now.
If you have any questions, come on in the chat room, lifestyleradio.ca, or our show
There I am.
chat at 420radio.ca.
That's it. Ross, we'll have to tell you, he told me today, as he was
You're
visiting
very low
Geek
again
Squad.
there, Deb. You have to turn your mic up a bit there.
Is that better?
That's much better. Thank you.
Okay. Ross was, as he was working with the Geek Squad today, he found this really interesting little device that you can put on your plant. It can get wet. It's about $29.95 at Staples. And it is something that you can track. So that will allow you to put it on your outdoor plants. If you're concerned, you can dial it into your GPS on your phone. And if something goes missing, you can track it.
How does
$5 for $180 US.
No, they're $29.95.
$29.95, and it's called what's it called?
It's called Tile.
Can you
Tile.
not remove
It's called
it?
Tile.
You can't remove it off of it.
No, what you do is it's about an inch by an inch square. It's
Yeah.
got a hole in the one corner.
Okay.
And it's got a homing device in it, and you can twist tie it onto your plant. So, and you can actually, I asked the guy, I said, is it weatherproof? And he said, yeah, it's weatherproof, because it's for like, if you want to put it on your luggage or say a backpack, and you left your backpack
yeah.
on
I
the
know
bench
this. I know what you're talking about.
So what's
Yeah,
it? What's it called?
It's called Tile. Tile. And if you Google Tile, you'll find Tile, and it's like I say, it's about an inch by an inch with a hole, so you can take a twist tie and you can put it right up into the bud, and twist tie it in there. You can spray paint it a little bit with a little bit of green, just a light spray painting, And most people, when they rip stuff off, they do it at night, right? So they're not even going to see it, and they're just going to pile it all into whatever their trailer or truck or whatever they're using, and they're going to drive it straight home. And the next morning when you go out there and you say, hey, my stuff is gone, there's an app for that. Okay.
Oh, I see.
You
what
go
this
to
is.
the app.
Called
I've
a
heard
bear
of this
board
before. There's a few of
You go to
them.
the app and you plug in your password or whatever,
Yep.
and up pops Google Maps with a dot, and you zoom in on that, and it shows you their frickin' driveway
And hopefully it's
with
not
the
the police
dot.
station.
Hopefully, but usually not. No, usually when somebody comes in and just rips it off in the middle of the night, it's not the cops. It's not the cops. I had a guy call me today and talk to him. He was just devastated because he had these big, beautiful plants that we've been helping him grow all summer long. He had gigantic, they were 14 feet tall. He had gigantic buds. It was for his 78-year-old father who was sick. It was his medicine. They were devastated that it was gone. And it's horrible. Every time I talk to somebody, who's lost their crop like that, it's a devastating experience. And anybody who's been through that, and I've been through it myself, going out after all this hard work and then your stuff is just gone. It's like your jaw hits the ground and it's like, you don't know what to think or what to do. But if you've got an app where you can go and say, look, and especially if you're legal, you can drive out there with a cop car behind you and say, that's the house right there. Okay.
The trick there would be don't ever lose your cell phone, though.
No. Well, actually, you know what? It's if you lose your cell phone, the tile works in reverse too. There's a little button on it, and if you push the button, your phone will go ring, 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 ring.
That's cool,
isn't it?
I thought I lose my cell phone all the time, so I need a tile on a necklace, and I can always find my phone.
And you can always find yourself too, which is also very important.
It depends. It depends on.
We all have to find ourselves.
Yeah, it depends.
I can't find it on the staple sites, but I've seen other ones that are.
Well, actually, you know what? It's if you lose your cell phone, the tile works in reverse too.
Sorry.
Yep.
Right. Who said that?
You did.
That sounded like me, but it wasn't me.
Yeah, it was you.
No, it wasn't.
Yes,
it was an echo of me. That was weird.
It was you.
I thought it was like an Alzheimer's moment or something.
No, seriously, I had my mouth shut when that came out, so I don't know what the hell that was. It's definitely Twilight Zone. Okay, so I'm going to find tile, and I'm going to send you the link. I'll put it on the chat room.
There's I'm just looking. And there's also one that was designed originally for your dog or your pet that you could put on, and those were around $49, and they would be the size of around a rabies tag size or dog license size, and
right, those were the
ones. Same thing.
Right, those were the ones that I saw. I think it was 5 for $180.
Yeah, that's right. But this is a new one that it's tiny bit larger in profile, but it is a lot cheaper. And I don't know, even if you just used it, 1 year. And that was it. It could make a big difference because it's around here right now. It's a huge problem. And not only that, but this year we've had more people that have been seeded by hemp than anyone else outdoors.
Everybody should thank Mr. Dana Larson for that one.
Yeah.
Okay, I just put the link in the chat room. If anybody wants to see the tile and what it looks like, if you just click on that link, it'll take you to the tile. So anybody who's growing outdoors and you're concerned about the little buggers, you can just twist one of these onto a bud, give it a little quick spray with a little bit of green paint to hide it. Not, and they're probably going to do it at night anyway, so they doubt they'll see it. But you got to make sure you don't tie it around the trunk of the plant or it'll just stay there, right? So get it up in there and into one of the buds. Okay, so everybody sees the tile now. So there it is. It's $22.99 for one, and I think for $29.99 for one, and I think you can get 4 for $88 or something like that.
And make sure you remove it before you throw your plant in the trimmer.
Yes, but you'll always be able to find your trim.
Pack of 4 for $70. That is cheaper.
Yeah, that's US probably.
Yeah.
But even cheaper than you, Marcel.
Free US shipping. But you know what I found is cheaper? Is the app called Bear Boards.
What's that?
Strips of wood with twisted concrete spikes sticking up so that when the bear steps on it.
I know. In Ontario, we have such a thing called man traps, and if you ever get caught setting one of those, you're in a lot of trouble.
It's a criminal offense. It's called setting a man trap, and if somebody, even if they're stealing something from you, if they step on a trap or like a nail board or something like that and get hurt, you can be charged.
So cougars everywhere should be wary.
Well, they're like do cougars press charges?
No, but well.
Or unless you're talking about the other kind of cougar, right?
Cougar bait might want to be pressing charges.
I'll leave that up to you guys' imagination.
So there's your grow tip. One grow tip for tonight is
I like that grow tip.
Protect yourself.
Because you could just go right to where your plants are and
knock on the door and say, where are my plants? Why
I'll
do you
take
have
my plants back, and
I want my plants now.
2 seconds to get out before your house burns down.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
But what a shock, when somebody knocks on their door, huh?
Oh yes.
I don't have your plant. Yes, you do. And then you press the app, and the tile goes beep beep beep. Ignore that beeping.
Can I ask a question, guys?
What?
Yes.
Since we're just sitting here yapping, we're not really going to be interrupted if somebody calls. Should we give out the phone number?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Okay, it is a long-distance number, but everybody knows by now you can call us on use Google Hangout or Skype. It's a Los Angeles number, 1-323-795-2420, or you can call us on our Skype. Just look up Lifestyle Radio, the Canadian ones. You'll see our logo. If you want to call in. We're going to play with some new equipment we got. So we'll see if we can make it all work. I'm playing with my equipment on the air tonight. Yep.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Don't peek there, Ra. So,
for your own safety.
Yeah.
So did anybody... Al, you're in Ontario. Did you listen to the news as to what they're going to be doing with impaired driving now with drugs?
I know that the OPP has a new breathalyzer.
No, this is not a new breathalyzer.
Okay.
No, it's by observation only that they're going to determine whether or not you are impaired on drugs, but they're now going to apply the same penalties and suspension regulations that it does with drunk driving.
Well, how can that be? Because I'm on Sesamet, so if I get pulled over, regardless of if I've been smoking or not, I'm going to have a THC level in my body. A pretty high one, I would think.
Yeah, they're not going to test for it. They're going to just look by observation.
So basically what it comes down to is if they pull you over and they smell pot, okay, they're going to say, oh, are you impaired? Well, you better get out of your car and you better stand on one foot and you better touch your nose and here, follow this pen. And if they don't like the way you perform, then they say you're impaired and they automatically give you a 90-day suspension of your license. That's regardless of whether you actually get charged and taken to court or not. They can confiscate your car, all the things they can do with drunk driving.
Yep.
But ultimately, when it comes time to go to court, how do they prove that you were actually impaired, except that they said that you looked impaired to them?
Or that you failed the field sobriety test.
No.
I've always said that that's a better way than just the blood test or a breathalyzer. Because I've always said, if you're too impaired to drive, if you can't touch your nose, and I mean, if you're coming out of your car and you've got a crutch, okay, or a cane, then obviously standing on one leg is a problem.
Right.
But as long as the officer's not being a dick and you pass all the things, then you're fine. But if you can't, then you shouldn't be driving.
Right.
I agree.
But the thing is most people that are impaired from cannabis have a common sense not to drive.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. And
other than the kids. The kids still do it. But the kids will do it drunk too.
But just because you've been using cannabis doesn't mean you're impaired.
I don't even get in the car
therefore
after
you
having
should pass
one
the field
beer.
sobriety test.
Right, but here's the problem is
that's
that
crazy.
they've smelled cannabis, and it's the only reason that they would give you the field sobriety test is if they smelled cannabis. So if they smell it and they give you the sobriety test, it's up to their own judgment as to whether or not you passed it, whether you did or not.
That's not right.
Well,
And
I mean, I've gone through a bunch
it's because of the 2 pounds that are sitting in the trunk.
Well, there's that too.
I've
that was a hash
done-
sitting on the seat, and the pipe and the bong,
Yeah.
The bong water that spilled on the back seat. And,
I mean, I've probably passed a half dozen sobriety tests because of the smelly cannabis. And while it's a long and arduous process, it's always a pat on the shoulder and send you on your way. As disgruntled as they or as pissed off as they want to be about it. I've had them go, your license says 3 grams. How do I know that you didn't just do it all just 10 minutes ago? What?
Because my eyes.
That's not the question. The question is, am I impaired, officer?
Exactly. And I didn't even have to say that. They did the test. I wasn't impaired, and they let you go. And that's as long as you've got somebody that's being reasonable and fair or just, you're all right.
We talked to one of the police drug recognition experts for an hour that had no idea that we used cannabis, and we were high as a kite.
Now, mind you, I remember the same officer said he's had a guy that he sat there and was talking to, and you couldn't tell that he'd been drinking at all, and he blew like a 4.0 or something.
I know somebody who took their driver's test medicated.
And all I have to say about that is if you can do that and you can still pass a field sobriety test, you're not impaired.
No,
and
exactly.
that's the definition.
Well,
Yep.
you know what I would do if I got charged and taken to court for impaired driving while smoking cannabis? I would, obviously you're going to have to get a lawyer, but you would have your lawyer basically video you smoking a joint and then go to a licensed driving tester who's licensed to test people for driving.
I'd like to set
Take a
something
driving
like that
test,
up.
and if you pass the test, then you just smoked a joint and you just went in and had a test and you passed the driving test.
Last summer, I saw a poster in the subway in Toronto. CAMH is doing a study on exactly this topic, and they were looking for a certain age bracket. Now, I haven't heard anything other than that poster about it. But what I did find out is there is a place down in the city where you can go and do the whole impaired thing on computers, right? And
Yep.
I was thinking about contacting them and maybe going out there.
Yeah. But you can see how fraught with problems this is going to be.
Of course.
There's going to be court challenges out the wazoo.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. But I think as far as the impaired driving, I think it was, I'm not sure who it was, but I think it was Mark Emery or Dana Larson or something. I think it was about 15 years ago. They covered themselves in oil, smoked pounds and pounds of weed, and then tried to drive, and they had no problems. They had a harder time walking than driving.
Right. So, it's not about whether you test positive on a test for, cannabis. It's, are you impaired?
I honestly don't think that I would pass a test, just being me. It's impaired or not. I don't have good balance. I stumble my words when I'm nervous.
But if you could pass a driving test, okay, if you could smoke a joint, like I said, and actually film yourself smoking the joint, and then then go take the test immediately after without the driving tester knowing that you just smoked a joint, okay, and then you pass that test, then you are not impaired, right?
I just did it, Ross. I just did it.
Right.
Okay. I literally just did that.
So if you videotaped it.
I didn't videotape it. No,
but
I'm just
if
saying
you had videotaped it, it would be good evidence in court.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so it's just going to be, it would be so easy to fight that in court. And if you did get convicted, it would be ripe for an appeal.
Somebody who has a mood disorder.
You should have had them put on your license afterwards. You should have told them that, I was really high.
Really?
Maybe you should have on the license, must be under the influence of cannabis to drive.
Somebody with...
You know what's even better, Marcel? If when you go to get your driver's license and they take the picture, just get really baked before you go, and make, the really stoned looking face.
Yeah.
So that when the cop pulls you over and looks at your driver's license, then looks at you and goes, hey, well, okay, that looks normal.
Yeah. Your eyes are pretty bloodshot and half closed. It must be looking like this all the time. Yep,
I know it worked for Homer Simpson when he went and had his picture taken when he was all drunk, right? So every time the cops pulled him over, they'd look at his license and look at him, and he was all drunk, right? And so was his photo. So it was like, okay, you can go.
It would work even better if you did your passport the same way.
Yeah. You just have to
the
make
border
sure
officials would definitely.
Pull out the little card to match your pupil dilation level to the little card dots that you are falling to the unimpaired slot.
That's funny. That's definitely funny.
Good point.
Pull out their little pocket card and, ooh, how dilated are your pupils? It could be this kind of drug you're on.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. When you've got a flashlight shining in my eye like that,
yeah,
pretty damn small.
You know,
okay, buddy, where's the acid? Where's the acid?
Yeah, I got pulled over once, and as I had to find the insurance, so he went back to the car with my license, and then by the time I got out of the car and I'm walking, I'm blinded by his frickin' lights. I walk past his window, almost stumble, and hand him my license. Oh, you found it, huh? Those lights are very disorienting. There are people with disorders who use cannabis to stop those disorders, mood disorders, anger disorders, PTSD. Somebody who doesn't have cannabis when they go and take one of those tests might, in fact, perform worse. Right?
It's true. And you could maybe have put right on your license that, under medical conditions, extreme rage when cops pull me over.
Road rage, road rage.
And accuse me of being impaired when I'm not.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why I smoke cannabis.
Well,
so I don't kill a cop.
There's
I smoke cannabis so lots of people don't die.
Yeah,
right. There you go.
Not just cops.
It keeps me from killing.
It makes me feel less murdery.
Right.
Murdery. Red rum.
That's the legal term, Chris.
Murdery?
Yeah. Murdery, yes.
Murdery.
That's what happens when I look at Facebook. The first thought that comes to my mind is you people have no idea how many of you are still alive because of cannabis.
Yeah.
It's true. It's all true.
Yeah.
So, guys and girl, I didn't forget about you. I just want to say Lori also couldn't make it tonight because she's having computer issues again. So, if you have a unit you want to get rid of, let me know. Somebody will use it.
Ross has an extra paperweight.
Yeah, that's all it is now. Actually, I was thinking more like an anchor for a canoe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it won't hold down a big boat, but it'll hold a canoe pretty good.
To get one from Nova Scotia to Ontario, it would cost me more than it's worth to get it there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
This one is pretty worthless right now. It's sitting in front of me right now in my new computer box, looking rather lame.
Commodore 64?
I wish.
No, it's a Coleco.
I wish I had a Commodore 64.
It's now an Asus Zero.
It's their new top of the line model.
Yes. Actually, bottom of the line.
Windows 10 ready. Windows 10
killed it. It just 9 hours. The little circle went around and around and around. It was just finally it just stopped.
Mine did that update tonight, and it didn't die. But the first thing I noticed that it did is it decided to remove my recovery system because it's not supported by this update of Windows.
I know. What's with the, and Windows 10 lost the Movie Maker program, which I use all the time. You can go and get it back if you want it, but I don't know why they took it. It's no longer supported by Windows 10. It was an awesome little program.
I was terrible. I tried to do my last show with that. Oh, man. If you actually do any video work at all, like editing of any kind, you're screwed.
See, I've never used it, so I have Corel Video Suite Pro, so I use that.
Yeah, no, I use the Movie Maker program all the time. I find it really easy to use.
I like Camtasia.
Camtasia?
Yeah, you said that before.
Is that a free one?
No.
No? Okay.
It was for me, but
if you got to pay, I'm not going to get it.
I mean, you can pirate it. Just don't tell the police. This is secure, right? Nobody's going to hear this?
Yeah,
No, we're not on the air right now, Chris.
Yes, we're on the air.
Nobody will know that's where a lot of my software over the years came from either. So.
I hide all my stolen software in amongst the stolen MP3s. So.
I got a question for you guys.
You'll never find
know
it.
what torrents are. We have no idea what torrents
Has
are.
anybody heard of Good Earth Farms?
Yes.
No.
Well, they just
Sounds organic.
They just followed us, and I'm just looking at their website to see what they're about.
So, Deb, you know who Good Earth Farms are?
Yes, I have heard of them. They believe in vermiculture, and there are a lot of good cultivation tips that they and practices that they use with growing.
Well, there you go. See, and you are horticulturalists after all. I mean, anyone who uses the word vermiculture is a horticulturalist, in my opinion, because I have no idea what that means. What is vermiculture?
Yes, you do. That's using worms, and most of them are red wigglers.
Ooh.
Oh, okay, right.
Red wigglers are
The Cadillac of worms. Ooh.
That's right.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo. Yeah. So
if you ever watched WKRP in Cincinnati with Dr. Johnny Fever, I don't know if anybody ever saw that show back. I'm probably showing my age.
Yes, you are.
Oh no, come on, that's an awesome show.
They used to do a commercial, and it was the Red Wigglers commercial, and they'd go, "Red Wigglers, the Cadillac of worms, woohoo! Cadillac of worms, woohoo!"
So is that goodearthfarms.ca or .com?
It's .com, I believe.
That's a cow farm.
No, that's
pasture-raised meats. And goodearthfarms.ca.
Try .poop.
Is in Black Creek, BC, and they have products such as strawberries, garlic seeds, banana sugar snap peas, arugula. Yum. No.
Arugula. I'm trying to
just
get
a nice word, isn't it?
I'm trying to get Rosie to say it.
Cool word. They've got seed catalog, but I don't see any cannabis seeds.
No. But they should have different methods of vermiposting and also have some raised gardens as well. And they do have seeds. A lot of them are non-GMO, organic, heirloom for vegetable varieties.
Cool.
But they believe in the vermiposting as well. But with vermiposting, it's something that even people in an apartment can do, where they are very quick at turning your scraps into usable compost. And it's
worm poop,
quicker.
right? That's what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's much quicker than using a compost pile outside. And there's really very little smell. It's surprising, but they're very quick at turning your kitchen waste into compost that you can use in your plants. And they stay inside. You can put them in a Rubbermaid tote, feed them, and they'll keep making stuff for you all winter long. They're great.
And we're not getting any though here, Deb. Okay, so just so you know.
She really wants some. I
know. I can tell. We just got rid of the turtle at the store, so we're not getting worms now.
I know. I'm having empty nest syndrome. I miss the turtle.
It's empty aquarium syndrome. Deb.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, you can tell that she wants to start her own worm farm.
Yep, worm farm. That's where it's at.
But she wants to do it under the sink in the kitchen. That's the problem.
No. In the basement near you, dear, where you sit.
Right next to my chair? Is that?
Sure.
Thank you, honey. I'll just stir it up every once in a while.
Okay, perfect.
Slurp one back.
You keep them in the basement, do you?
That's where my easy chair is.
Let's listen to a song, shall we? This is NoFX Oxymoronic. We'll be right back. It's the 420 Radio Show. Come on in the chat room and say hello. We'll be right back. It's the 420 Radio Show. Come on in the chat room and say...
This is Bubbles from the trailer park, and they're playing some fucking excellent music on lifestyleradio.ca. I hope I didn't sound too nervous there.
Please hang up and try again.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
I've been called an oxymoron Because I question which drugs the war's on. Why are there more drugstores than liquor stores you can score on? The healers have become the harmers. They're just pharmaceutical farmers. What we used to call dealers, we now call doctors. I might be a seedy cynic, 'cause that crack house is now a clinic. It's time they change the name of the O2, the hypocritic or the parasitic. It isn't at or altruistic by over-prescribing. How can we fight them in a boxing ring? I'll throw a pros accusation with a subcat meaning. They'll say my fears are way ludicrous. It should be out of vanishing. With every demo or altercation, they'll have a good sound explanation. You're just the illustrated, 'cause we made your dick deflated. It's oxymoronic. It's oxymoronic. It should be doctors getting busted for their colon opinions we trusted. We're not the sinners, they're the ones who served us the vodka dinners. I don't wanna be an alarmist, but in that pharmacy there's a pharmacist, and those scripts are making us maximum-minded pacifists. It's oxymoronic. It's oxymoronic. It's oxymoronic. It's oxymoronic. Don't think that I am being crazy. The medical industrial complex keeps us aggravated and hard to come because of drug sex. How can we hydro-condone the blatant misconduct? They don't care for patients, they care about pushing product. Are you oxymoronic for wanting your daily chronic and making your mom's house hydroponic? You're oxymoronic. I've been called an oxymoron for getting my metaphor on. Linoleum is a floron. I'm an oxymoron. It's time to be alarmed. We're not being healed, we're being harmed. Our country's being factory farmed. It's oxymoronic. It's time to sound the alarm. We can't put our faith in karma. We got a common enemy, and they're called Big Pharma. And it's oxymoronic. And it's oxymoronic. It's oxymoronic. It's oxymoronic.
Oxymoronic should be used as directed. You should call your doctor if you experience pubic hair growth on your face or neck. In rare cases, oxymoronic has been known to cause patients to regain unconsciousness, take both sides of an argument, and polygamy. Other side effects may include a sexual attraction to windows, eyeball growth, trash can envy, tongue expansion, considering yourself the most interesting person in the room, spinal retraction, subtle driving, a frowny smile, pigeon coupon collecting, and playing basketball. In more severe cases, some patients have experienced sharding as a daily ritual, obsession with average results, liking people you never did before, clown fighting, and growth of extra holes. Ask your doctor about oxymoronic today.
Honor.
That's what he hopes. She has a flat back so you can set it there. Set your palm on
No,
her.
it's cold, man. That thing's cold when you're sitting on somebody.
And then the ashes and butts go all over.
But you can get the ones that are attached to the headband so that they sit on the top of your head and they have a spring. So even if it's going up and down, there's not a problem. It stays stable.
It's like the old ashtrays that were like the sandbag, like that.
That's my wife.
Yeah.
People used to put them on the dashboard of their cars so they didn't go anywhere.
That's right. That's right.
We're back on air, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Are we?
Oh,
I'm on weed. You can be on air. I'm on weed.
I'm on airweed.
Are we done now?
The buds weren't very dense.
How you doing? Hello.
Not as dense as
Hello.
anything.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good.
Yes, I have a problem.
What's your problem?
Where were you last night?
I was with my wife. Where were you?
Kind of
This is
personal,
Mr.
I
Frank
think.
Slade.
I think Coulter Wonkite should answer.
What are you going to do about it, asshole?
I'm going to use more lube.
Don't waste my motherfucking time!
I have a suppository for that.
Shame on you!
No, I mean, seriously, they work good.
Judgmental or what?
He's laughing his sick fucking ass off! He's a tight ass! He's a sadist!
Holy.
You know what? I have a hard time believing that we're actually having a conversation with
Laugh track.
Al
It's the
and
goof
his
of all
sound
time.
clips.
You got a moron here. Is that
Well,
it?
that was a sound clip?
I know
Boy,
exactly
do I
where
feel
your
dumb.
body is. What I'm looking for is some indication of a brain.
Okay, the hash is kicked in for
Money in the
Ross.
mattress.
It's kicked in a long time ago.
You fucking shit. How fucked up you are.
Now, that's just rude.
That is. I
Who
think
is that?
you better
We
tell
have a
that
lady
bot
here.
to quit doing that.
Al Pacino.
It's Al Pacino.
Yeah.
Oh, what a
You
big
didn't
man
say
you
Al
are.
Pacino was gonna be on the
what
show
a
tonight.
big man you are. What a big man you are. Hey, let me buy you a pack of gum. I'll show you how to chew it.
Anyways,
Yeah.
we're here
Thanks for that.
We're here.
We told you Al was going to be playing with himself.
There you go.
Well, we
stupid
started
fucking
talking about lube.
We did.
You
That
fairy.
probably set him
Where did you
off.
learn your trade? You stupid fucking cunt. You idiot. I don't care
Man,
whose
that Al Pacino's
nephew
got
you
a
are,
felon.
who you know, whose dick you're sucking on. You're going out.
All right.
No lube for you, Al.
No lube for me.
Pacino.
No.
Or
no.
rap.
Or me. No, I don't use it. I don't need it. Thanks. Let's
Okay,
see.
we won't go there.
Let's
We don't
see.
want to know why you don't use it and
All right.
why you don't need
We're
it.
gonna
Okay.
we're gonna switch. We're gonna switch here. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So we no
Hello?
longer have Al Pacino.
Could I help you?
Yeah, we need all the help we could get.
Please help us.
FLNODR 143687. What a special friend you are. This is Fred
Is this-
Rogers.
Whose neighborhood are we
Fred
in now?
Rogers.
Yeah, we're in the wrong fucking neighborhood.
For sure.
Yes, I'm just going to feed my fish and then I'll go out and wait for you.
You're
I
going to
wonder
feed
if
them those
fish
worms,
laugh
those vermiculture
or cry.
worms?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so
The
let's-
red wiggler.
Let's finish up with that, and I have a question for Deb.
Good.
Since she's the
About time.
horticulturalist.
Say that 3 times.
No, she's the plant lady.
Yeah.
There you go.
Boom.
If you could set up a grow for cannabis specifically using whatever system you would like, what would it be?
I think that if I was going to set up a system for doing that, I would look at water culture.
Deep water culture?
So
Yeah,
deep
well,
water culture or
a recirculating water culture. There are ones that are larger than what you would traditionally think of. It's culture tube, I believe. I have it at the brochure at work, but this is using PVC pipe for your drains and your outlets, and it's actually they're using square containers as opposed to round ones.
And they're like the mesh basket pots?
That's right, yeah, and they're a much better system for larger scale operations because they won't clog up. The roots can't go down into the system where they have to be cleaned out. The only thing you have to really be aware of is you have to watch your heat levels and for Pythium, things like that. And you have to make sure that your starting material has no viral or root problems to start with because that will just carry through the whole system. But that is one that you will get faster. You'll see quicker growth. And so you will be vegetating in shorter periods of time. And the whole system can be put on wheels or tables so that you can move it from room to room.
That's pretty cool. Is that a continuous flow system or a
Yes.
timed, so it's continuous
no,
flow?
It's a continuous flow system. So, and it's the best way to do it because you're getting more oxygen then to the roots.
Right.
But the only problem is that as opposed to having a single pot, whether it be on a drip in soil or in a rock wool on a drip, something like that, is if there is ever a fungal problem, it's going to go through the whole system.
Right.
But
And
you
that's-
will get quicker growth. than you
And
will
higher
any other
higher
way.
yields, right? You'll get higher
Yes.
yields too.
Yes, you will.
So the trade-off is you could lose your entire crop, or you could come out with a bonus.
That's right.
Well, but if you do it right, you won't lose your crop.
No.
Right.
You just got to take the steps. Like you can use things like occasionally adding a bit of 29% hydrogen peroxide at 1 milliliter per liter of water and running that through the system. That'll kill anything organic that might be in there.
Yeah, or an aqua shield or
Or an aqua
something
shield.
like that. That would help with any viral or fungal. But you
Hydrosparkle.
have to watch your heat too, because as soon as you have an abundance of light and heat with water, you're going to get algae.
Right.
So you just have to watch that. And in a lot of cases, I know with ponds with aquaponics and things, some of them will even add a non-toxic dye to the water to make it darker so that the light cannot penetrate through and cause the algae growth.
There you go. Of course, you when you use aquaponics, you have a fixed NPK depending on which fish you use. So if you're using something like what do they call it? The
carp?
No, not carp.
No, you can't use
tilapia.
koi.
Tilapia.
If you use tilapia, yeah, you just have to watch. But I'm not suggesting trying to do that. It's too difficult.
Yeah,
And
I would
takes far
not.
too much time to try and measure a fish.
If I was going to do that, I would actually do it on a spring-fed pond.
Yeah.
With fish, pump the water from the pond to the tanks.
Yeah.
And then back into the pond.
That's right, and go through a biofilter, and then you don't have to worry so much if it's a native pond like that. The nitrate levels are going to be right, because when you set up an artificial system, you have to match the nitrate levels of the fish and pH to what the plant is, and that's where you run into trouble trying to use exotic species.
Right.
Correct me if
I would use a trout pond.
Yeah, but correct me if I'm wrong, though, Deb. Like you would have to start in the veg stage with something like tilapia, and if you were using a pond, then you would have to evacuate the tilapia out there and replace them with something like rock bass, which would give you a higher phosphorus and potassium for the flowering stage, which makes the logistics. Or have two ponds, yes, and just take your floating mass off the one pond and move it over to the other. Yeah. You can do that.
You could do that. Perch work well.
Yeah.
So do bass.
For flour? You mean for flour?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It
But
doesn't matter.
for what you get out of it, I mean, it all sounds really, really cool and sexy and all that. But really, it's a lot of trouble, and what the benefits that you get.
Well, the only benefit you get is you get an organic hydroponic system, really.
Oh, that and 2 fish fries per week.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, and
Oh, yeah, but I
actually
mean-
have a customer who's looking at experimenting with lobster and crabs instead of fish in the system too.
Come on, Marcel.
I know.
Chris, you guys are the seafood experts.
Come on, that was a perfect opening there.
It is, but I mean, that is a very
How that would work.
that's a very high amount of salt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, cannabis doesn't grow in seawater.
That's true.
Well, actually,
How do
I've
they do
never
that?
tried it.
Well,
I've
Maybe
never tried
crayfish. You could do it with crayfish, maybe.
crayfish, maybe, but not lobster and crab.
not lobster and crab.
Well, how's he
no,
going to
but
do that, Deb? If he's got to use salt water?
It's I guess whatever waste product comes from them.
Yeah, but they're living in salt water, so your
Yeah,
mass
I
is
know.
floating on salt water.
No. It's a different setup the way he's trying to do it. But that's the
So
guy who
he's
did the
just trying to collect. He's just trying to collect crab and lobster waste.
Yeah.
I know what he's
that.
doing. Yes, I know exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's a remote reservoir
Yeah.
with a filter system that filters out the poop and then puts it into a mobile form that then feeds it to your biomass where your root system is. So your root system's not actually floating on the salt water. The salt water is going through a filter, having the salt filtered out and the poop left in, then being mixed with fresh water and pumped over to your biomass.
Nope.
That's right?
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. Not going to filter salt out.
No.
But he is collecting. To go through. But I could see him collecting poop on a filter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Removing the filter, removing the poop, rinsing it with fresh water.
Yeah, and then
to remove the salt content.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of
salt
work.
And most of your yard plants don't go very well together.
No, they don't. So obviously there's some logistical problems with achieving that. So
yeah, he's experimenting with it using just lettuces and simple non-vascular plants to see what's happening to start with. And not only that, but crustaceans also give you, when ground into meal, the shells give you something that's very beneficial for your plants and allows them to kill off any soil-borne fungus and bacteria, bad bacteria in the soil. It's creatine.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so that creatine comes from crushing lobster and shrimp shells.
Yeah.
Balance your pH as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's actually a company here on our coast that does that and creates creatine from those shells.
That's right.
And I'm not sure where they're at with what they're doing, but that's not coming from the poop.
No, that's just from the shell. That's another byproduct where if you did it, you could use the waste material to help with the growing of the plants. Then after a while, you are going to be harvesting those crustaceans. You can use the meat, but you can also then use the shells.
Right. That was the big selling feature for them to do this plant, I guess, to do that here.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's no issue of salt and everything because everything's washed, so the salt's removed as well as any bacteria and things.
Right.
And the shells are baked and crushed at specific temperature and goes through quite the process to extract this.
To extract it, yeah.
But once it's extracted, it's got a lot of valuable uses.
Yes.
But if you got a couple of $1 million laying around, what the hell? Just go for it.
And an abundance of shells.
Yes, that too.
Because you do need that abundance of shells.
So you just got to have a lot of lobster boil parties and crab bake parties, and make sure there's lots of cannabis on hand. So and butter to dip it in.
Oh yes, you got to medicate that butter with
medicate butter for sure.
Oh, wouldn't that be great? We're gonna have to get together and do that and have a crab boil. Do you guys? What kind of crabs? Can you throw out? Put chicken necks in a crab net and throw it out in your areas out there and get crabs? Are you guys allowed to do that?
I don't know. It's easier for us to just go to a fisherman and say, "Give me some crab."
See, we lived in Florida. We used to be able to throw a net over the pier with like a chicken neck in it or something and let it sit on the bottom for half an hour, and you'd pull it up and it'd be full of blue claw crabs.
Yeah, well, see, we've learned a long time ago that you don't need anything that comes right from the shore close to you.
Oh, why not?
Well, like crabs and things. Well, I grew up in Halifax.
Say no more.
Where
the sewage.
We could see raw sewage being pumped straight up into the middle of the harbor.
Right.
Especially at low tide.
Yeah.
So we learned you don't just throw anything off a pier and eat what you get.
No. Of course, in Florida, they kind of frowned upon pumping raw sewage into the Gulf of Mexico. So,
or they at least did it far enough out that you wouldn't see it.
They didn't. They really, honestly, they didn't do it. They just didn't do it. However, there was a paper mill up the way that put out plenty of effluent. So, I guess it kind of makes up for it.
Ideally, the fishermen here go at least a mile off the coast.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah.
And then they fight one another for the traps, right?
That's going to happen in any type of business where you have competition. They'll fight for business, especially if it's a free for all for.
I know.
Ocean
Whenever
20.
somebody comes into my store and they start talking about another hydroponic store, I whip out my gun and start shooting at them. Right?
Yeah, see? They say, don't even talk about them.
Yeah. All right, you up against the wall.
I find it funny that he keeps calling it his store, yet he's only in there 1 day a week.
Did I say
He works 1 day a week. It's his store.
Ooh, Deb's store. It's Deb's store.
Well, she's the one that obviously answers the questions on how to grow shit.
She answers the technical. She's our technical expert. I'm the master grower. She's the horticulturalist. Okay, let's get this
He goes
straight.
the bathrooms down back.
I'm good at trimming.
So, does she teach you
potato?
Does she teach you better ways to grow?
We complement one another.
Oh, okay. So,
you are
so basically, whenever she tells you something, it becomes your idea.
No, she won't let me do that.
Okay.
That ain't happening. No, vice versa. That could work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, we really do. You know what? If there's something that I can't answer, the first thing I do is I turn and I say, Deb, can you come out here and help me? You know, I definitely defer to Deb on all the technical horticultural issues. No doubt about that.
Cool.
No doubt about it.
So,
if you want to know how to build an organic living soil, let me know so that you never have to throw ProMix away again or do anything like that. You can just add some amendments, and it only takes about 3 weeks to cook in the pot, and you can pot it up and it'll cook right there. And then 3 weeks later, by the time your flower is ready to come off and you're ready to transplant your veg into that, then you can just pot it on up, and it's already organic nutrients. You don't need to put anything in there other than just pH water. And actually with that, you don't even have to pH your water as long as it's not above 7.5. If it's above 7.5, you really are going to have to bring it down a little bit, at least into, say, if it's under 7, just under 7, you should be fine. But anything over 7.5 is extremely hard. And even though organics are meant to buffer well, and will do fine, you're going to affect your bacteria, your aerobic bacteria at your root level, which helps to change the nutrients and make it the right pH so the plant can absorb them. If you're too high, you're going to throw that off. So that's the only time you really have to do any adjusting of pH, and it's better if you use an organic pH down. Instead of an acid, if you can.
Okay. Raise your hand if you want this put into plain English.
No, I wanted to send me the friggin' recipe.
I know.
Okay, I can do that too.
Yes. Rotting stuff, good for plant. Good.
No. I mean, you have a base, and you're looking at doing. I can send you the ratios too.
Yes.
Where you're what equals a 5-gallon amount, so that you're doing it by 5 gallons with your measurements, and you can figure it up from there. So if you're doing a larger amount, you can correlate it to that.
Yeah, I'm thinking more along the lines of 5 or 6 45-gallon drums.
Okay.
But by all means, give me the recipe for 5 gallons at a time.
Okay. Well,
I
no,
can
you're
do
just
math.
using 5 gallons for
It's
measurement.
just math, yeah.
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 Yep.
Yeah. So,
I do math every day.
And now you know why I defer to Deb for the technical questions.
Because she knows the answers.
Damn right.
Sesame Street. That's where I learned my math, was Sesame Street.
She actually looks smarter though, Russ.
That's right.
1, 2, 3 nutrients.
But you know what? The thing that gets me is if I'm doing something, for example, filling capsules, when I'm picking them up, I know how many are there, but I'm still counting them in my head as I'm picking them up. The Sesame Street ruined me.
Ah, that's it.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
It's the count. It's the count's fault.
It's the count's fault.
Yep, the count counts. Right. 1, 2,
But I did like 'em.
3.
It was pretty cool.
3 can of cups.
Actually, yeah.
Marcel, what size caps do you use? Do you use 00 or 01 or what is your favorite? How about that?
It depends. If I'm doing liquid caps, then a number 2, which is small, one third of a milliliter. And if I'm doing powder formulation, then it's zeros.
Okay.
You guys are all crazy. I like number 4.
That's too
They're
small.
awesome. No way.
What is
but
that?
you just
The
put
size of
straight.
a pin?
You just put straight oil in them.
If you need to, yeah. I mean, but the number 4s are mixed. They're fine for beginners.
Well, no. See, this is what I have. The zeros, which are the capsules, or the powdered formula, is a low dose that we've been doing clinical trials with, and it's extremely effective.
Yeah, it's so big though. It's like a horse pill.
No, it's not. It's not a 00 or
Almost the size of a pop can.
Not quite, but
no, they're big, man. I just don't understand why you use such a big capsule when you can get such little tiny ones.
It's because it's a powder.
Right.
Right. So ideally, our next venture should be and will be to get a pill press and press that powder into an actual pill.
So does that mean you're going to be pooping pills?
Yeah.
You're going to be a pill pooper.
Popping them. That'd be the pill popper.
Pill pooper. You could be a pill pooper.
Yeah. Yeah, number 4 capsules, that would just be too small to even look at trying to fill for me. We're old, Chris. We're not young like you.
Yeah.
Man, I got one eye, okay, and I can still fill them. They're not that top.
You know, when you get older, you're a lot bigger asshole than when you're younger, right?
No, I like the number 2 for liquid, and I like the 0 for the powder because it's where the dose fits.
Okay.
So.
Wow.
But I would never give anyone any bigger than a 0.
So this
Actually,
kind of
are these a 0?
back to lube, right? Are we going to go back to the lube now?
How about we go back to the lube? How about we go to the lube when we come back after the news?
There you go. After a break or something.
It's the top of the hour, and we want to do some news.
Oh, news.
News. So we're going to let the news thing fly here, and then Chris will be back in a minute with the news. How's that?
Cool.
Sounds great.
All righty, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Tune into the Pace Radio Show and catch Kim Cooper, Debbie Stoll-Skiffen, or Allison Murden, along with myself, Al Grant, as we talk to Canadian and international cannabis advocates who are working hard to help patients and to end cannabis prohibition. Catch us live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here at lifestyleradio.ca.
You're
Good evening. I'm Coulter Wonkite. I'm already into the 420, damn it.
420 radio show. This is Chris back with your 420 seconds of news. Need some medical pot? There's an app for that. An Alberta-based pot producer has launched a mobile app to make it easier for patients with a prescription to purchase federally regulated medicinal weed. Cam Batley of Aurora Cannabis said the idea was to give customers the same service as a giant online retailer like Amazon. As far as we know, it's the first legal app for Android and Apple for federally approved legal medical cannabis, Batley said. The fact is that people live on phones and tablets. They use them in their shop for everything from consumer products and health products to medicine. It's acknowledgement of the reality of how people operate today. Batley said the app allows patients registered with Aurora to access their own files and select the type of medical cannabis they want to buy. The app lists different strains of pot, such as Blue Dream Ambition or LSD Baker, and shows their THC and other medicinal content. There's also a picture, a product description, and the price per gram. A simple click on the Add to Cart button, and customers are ready to check out just as if they were ordering customer products from any other online store. Same-day service is available in parts of Alberta, and there's free delivery for orders over 5 grams or more. It's all about customer service, Batley said. It should be fast, it should be easy, and it should be convenient. Aurora Cannabis is one of 35 producers that have been licensed by Health Canada to produce medical cannabis. Cannabis Canada Association, the Regulated Industries Trade Organization, estimates that between 80 and 90,000 people in the country have prescriptions for medical pot, and the number is increasing every month. Aurora, which has 7,700 registered patients, announced plans last month to expand its operation in Mountain View County, north of Calgary, to keep up with demand. Other companies are also ramping up production. Health Canada does not allow licensed medical cannabis producers to advertise, but companies are permitted to communicate basic information about their pot products on their websites. Eric Morissette, a Health Canada spokesman, said the department has no problems with the Aurora Cannabis app. As this mobile application currently appears to respect the established parameters, Health Canada does not have any concerns at this time, Morissette said in an email. Batley, who is a member of the Cannabis Canada's Board of Directors, said attitudes about cannabis are changing quickly. There is much greater comfort across the country and across age groups and demographics with respect to the use of medicinal cannabis. Part of that comes from the fact that lots of people now know somebody who has used it successfully for the management of things like pain or sleeping disorders. Even as Canada heads towards the legalization of selling recreational cannabis, pot-related businesses are being shunned by some banks that are not willing to take the risk of an industry in which the problems may outweigh the rewards. Reports say Scotiabank and the Royal Bank of Canada will no longer give accounts to companies associated with the cannabis industry. Those include stores that sell pipes and bongs, but not cannabis, as well as medical pot producers. Banks are for-profit organizations. Their competitive advantage is managing risks, said Walid, associate professor of the international business at the University of Toronto's Rotman School of Management. So these two banks did their due diligence and came up with the conclusion that in their position, there is some risk and risk that can be reputational. Once the industry matures, cannabis will be a very important market for the banks and other financial institutions, Hitzig said, but we're just not there yet. Malik estimates the current legal pot-related business in Canada is worth $250 million a year, which spread amongst the Canadian banks would generate relatively tiny fees. Yet it's still a controversial industry that receives a lot of press coverage, he said. While the majority of Canadians may support legalization, there are still many who don't, and many of them are important financial clients. The challenges faced by U.S. recreational pot sellers could prove instructive for their soon-to-be Canadian counterparts. For many U.S. banks, it's basically too risky for them to accept cannabis-related business as customers, said Rabe, who studies the legal cannabis industry in the U.S. Many cannabis businesses have to deal with cash and cannot accept debit or credit cards. Many legal pot shops in Washington, Colorado, and Oregon, the only states with legal recreational sales so far, and dispensaries in medical cannabis states keeping banking machines on site to facilitate cash transactions. Since many banks won't take them on as clients, pot retailers have to spend significant amount of money on guards and safes where they store their money. The Canadian Medical Association is urging the federal government to take a slew of measures to keep pot out of the hands of teenagers and young 20-somethings, including restricting the amount and potency of cannabis available to the Canadians younger than 25. The CMA, which speaks for 83,000 doctors across the country, made recommendations in a written submission to the federal task force in charge of designing a new system for selling recreational pot in Canada. The 9-member panel is expected to report to the Liberal government, which has promised to legalize cannabis in November. Bullshit. If you were going just by the scientific evidence, you probably land on something more like an age restriction at 25, because we know that most of the rapid brain development takes place right up until that age, said Dr. Jeff Blackmer, the CMA's Vice President for Medical Professionalism and Policy Development. But the doctors group acknowledged that it would be difficult to set minimum age of 25, considering that pot use among 15 to 24-year-olds is already double that of the general population. It would be better to set a lower age limit and encourage young cannabis users to steer clear of the black market, if argued. We recognize that people below the age of 25 will still likely want to try to use it and may then look to other avenues to obtain the drug, which may not be safe, said Dr. Blackmer in an interview. Jenna Valerie, a PhD candidate in the University of Toronto and strategic advisor for Canadian Students for Sensible Drug Policy, said it would make more sense to implement cannabis age restrictions that mirror those for alcohol, 18 or 19, depending on the province. If you have an age limit as high as 25, you have a potential of creating this kind of youth illicit market, she said. The CMA also weighed in other aspects of future cannabis regime and hopes it would be applied consistently from coast to coast. The group recommended that pot be sold in places that already sell controlled substances, such as liquor stores, rather than in pharmacies, which would risk lending cannabis credibility as a pharmaceutical medication. We've never felt comfortable with the idea of promoting cannabis as a medical product, Dr. Blackmer said. Putting cannabis on the shelves of places like liquor stores where the staff have experience asking for identification and warning customers of a product's risk sends a message that cannabis is a regulated product. It's not a health product. It's not going to make your health get better. In fact, there are health risks of consuming this product, he says. The doctor also urged Ottawa to ban homegrown weed, except for medical users, to enact strict laws against drug driving, to forbid pot smoking in public places, and to undertake a rigorous review of the rules currently in place for producing, packaging, storing, and distributing medicinal pot before cannabis sales are opened to the recreational users. And 2 people are facing charges after city police officers raided the city's first cannabis dispensary. A Controlled Drugs and Substances Act search warrant was executed in the raid at the Cannabis Culture at 382 George Street. Cannabis and cash were seized in the raid, McLean stated. Cannabis Culture owner Richard Standen, 62, was charged with trafficking cannabis, possession of cannabis for the purposes of trafficking, and possession of the proceeds of crime. He was held in custody for court appearance today in Ontario, the justice in Peterborough. And Miranda Glant, 21 of Brock Street, was charged with trafficking cannabis. She was released from custody and is to appear on October 6th. Officers entered the store just before noon, taking 2 people away in a cruiser and removing several recycling boxes filled with pot products sold at the shop. Later in the afternoon, as police were still inside the store, would-be customers arrived in streams and were surprised they couldn't get in to buy their medicine. Some loitered and talked about how unhappy they were that the store had closed. Then Jeremy Bertrand arrived with a pipe and lit it up right outside the store. As he exhaled great plumes of smoke, he said he was making a point. "I want it to smell like weed when the police come out of the store," Bertrand said. Bertrand, 38, is a tagger known as Jerm Ajax. Although he was charged by the city police for tagging earlier this year, he says those charges were withdrawn. He says he's lived with anxiety and bipolar disorder all his life. "This cannabis has been a relief for me," he said. "I've been using it since I was 11 years old, daily." He says he's been pleased with Cannabis Culture opening. Finally, he could get a local supply of high-quality pot from a place where it won't be laced with fentanyl. He pointed to the people who arrived at the doorstep to buy pot. "They're soccer moms. They're students," he said. "They're not the scary homeless people you guys think they are." Doreen Strode, 65, cried when she arrived at the store to find it closed. It had taken her half an hour to get there from the city bus station using her walker. She says her sciatic nerve pain is worse than any labor pain she ever experienced. She's been prescribed morphine, but she says it doesn't help. Weed, on the other hand, relieves her pain, and up until now, she's been asking loved ones to get it for her from dealers. "But you don't know what it's laced with," she said. Cannabis Culture opened a week ago. Police warned the owner, Richard Standen, that his business was illegal and was under investigation. He was openly selling the cannabis to anyone over 19 with either a medical exemption or not. That's illegal enough, even though Prime Minister Trudeau has promised to legalize pot next year. "We're not criminals. We're trying to help everyone," Standen told the Examiner on Wednesday. "I'm hoping police realize what we're doing is a community-based project, really." City Police Deputy Chief Tim Farquharson said Wednesday that the store's customers could also face charges. But by late Thursday, there was no word of such charges having been laid. Cannabis advocate Mark Emery, founder of the Cannabis Culture Company, says he's planning to hold a protest over the raid at the Peterborough Police Headquarters from 1 to 4:20 on Saturday. That's your 420 seconds of news. This has been Chris Backer, and welcome to the 420 Radio Show.
I'd just like to say, of course he is.
Of course he is. Why wouldn't he?
Good job, Chris.
Yeah, that was really good, Chris. Thank you. It was very informative.
Some kind of sad news there, though, and it's too bad.
The bank one pisses me off.
Yeah, the bank one is a piss off. The Peterborough one is kind of sad.
Yeah, Peterborough sad. The bank one is a piss off because it's got to be the stupidest business decision ever done.
Yeah.
I don't know how they figure it's only a $250 million business.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
I
getting
think
a
they're missing a
share,
couple zeros.
Yeah.
just a share of a multi-billion-dollar business that's coming whether they like it or not.
It's not a new attitude. We used to do our business banking with the Bank of Nova Scotia until they told us that they no longer wanted to deal with us because we were a hydroponics store.
And when did that happen, Deb?
And that happened, what, 10 years ago?
They stopped dealing with you because you grow plants?
Because we were a hydroponics store.
We were a hydroponics store.
And one time we deposited like just over $10,000 in cash.
Yeah, but it was for a legitimate greenhouse that had ordered that we had to place this deposit of cash. And I had, 3 days later, I had a bank manager that I had never met before walk into the store and turn to me and say, "Oh, this is a real business with a real location."
And they want to slap somebody.
Yeah, and then they still
they
canceled
said,
our accounts.
We want to set up a meeting. You come in, bring me all your receipts, all your books, and we'll have a look at if we want to do business with you.
Yeah. So this is obviously not new.
May I ask where you guys went to find a bank?
Toronto Dominion.
Okay.
And Toronto Dominion has been awesome.
I went to the Rexdale Center, and because we are a homegrown distributor, I went with Shelley Ray, who is the owner, and she introduced me to the bank manager, and we'd had a wonderful relationship with TD ever since.
That's good to know. So if you're thinking about getting into a cannabis business in Canada, think about talking to somebody at TD.
Exactly. Yeah. Toronto Dominion is highly recommended by BMA Hydroponics.
Well, I know that my bank, Royal, has just, it was Royal and Scotia, right? Were there any others? BMO?
Nope.
It's just Royal, Bank of Montreal and Bank of Nova Scotia. Is that right?
No, Royal Bank.
Royal Bank?
Royal Bank.
Royal Bank and Bank of Nova Scotia.
Bank,
yeah. So, Royal Bank, those two avoid. Everybody should boycott them.
Now, it's very short-sighted, and I think what plays into this decision of theirs too is a lot of them have cross-border investment firms that are attached to them. In the United States, because it's still considered a Schedule I and it's not legal on a federal level with the banking system, I think that's where they're putting the risk factor. But once it is a federal here, not a state-by-state legalization, and when that happens, they're not going to have a choice because they're governed by federal regulations. It's not province by province like it is in the States with legalization.
Good point.
Right? They're just not ready. Just like the insurance.
The federal government in the U.S. isn't ready. Obviously, a lot of the state governments are ready.
Well, obviously, we're not ready here either, so...
I say get right or get left.
Yeah, and I think there is no left side. There's only a right side, and the Scotia Bank and the Royal Bank are on the left side.
Okay, let's.
No, I kind of mean more get right, get on board, or get left behind.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there you go. And well, then I stand by what I said because the right banks are your TDs and your CIBCs and all the ones who aren't taking that stance, and the ones who are being left behind are going to be the Bank of Nova Scotia and the Royal Bank.
So let me ask a question. We were talking, I believe, last week before, about insurance companies. We were talking about getting some insurance companies together that may be or may not be, that kind of thing. Have we had any headway with that? Are there any insurance companies accepting home
you
grows?
Want to take that one?
Anything like that yet?
Yeah. There's actually a broker, insurance brokers that will, they do MMAR houses now that are still licensed under the former MMAR. They also have insured licensed producers as well. So they are very well versed in the cannabis industry as far as that goes for home growers all the way up to the commercial institutes. And they are out of British Columbia. but they have no problem doing quotes for anyone across the country.
I'd like to see if we could get somebody on from there.
I believe there's a business card on the table right next to you, Deb, for the
I
guy.
have it. I have it right here. So, yeah, it's LMG Insurance Brokers, and they're in Duncan, BC.
Okay. You got a number?
Yeah, I do. So
Okay.
I can give Mr. Wilkins, Scott Wilkins is the gentleman that I met.
Yes.
I can give him a call and see if he would like to come on your show.
Please do.
I
Please do.
shall.
Because that's, I hate saying it this way, but the government in Canada has given us back our grows, but by this, and relieved a lot of stress from a lot of people. But then you also have to start thinking about what happens if something goes wrong. I'd like to know what they're actually, if you're just a crappy grower, are you going to get something out of it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
it would be like a separate rider on your house insurance where you would pay an extra, $20 a month to have yourself covered in case anything went awry with your home grow.
I can see a lot of
London thing. It's like how Halo insured her ass, right?
I can see a lot of fraud happening at first with that.
What kind of fraud?
Insurance fraud?
Insurance fraud. I mean, like, how the hell are they going to know whether or not the guy was just a shitty grower or he was pulling a fast one?
Well, that's not the point. The point is, did you have a catastrophe of some kind? Did you have a fire? Did you have a flood or something like that was caused by your grow?
Yeah.
I think then they would send in an insurance adjuster and maybe to look at what the cause is.
Now, I happen to have run into an insurance agent down here on the East Coast, and if you're a cannabis consumer or patient or user, it doesn't matter, and he'll help you with life, disability, critical illness, liability, mortgage, life, auto, home, business, marine, or contractors.
Oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool.
So the only thing he doesn't do is like medical, so they'll pay for it kind of insurance.
Now, what about if are there insurance companies insuring the crops?
That I don't know. I don't think so.
No. I haven't heard of that. I mean, you'd almost have to check into agricultural insurance like farmers have. But if you're growing inside, it'd be really hard to claim that, you had a locust infestation and lost everything.
But I'll tell you right now, you
caught a few.
if you wanted to put the proposal to someone like Lloyd's of London and gave them a chance, I mean, if they charge you enough, they'd insure whatever you want, really. So I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. But I think more what these guys would be looking at would be fire, maybe water, something like that. Because if you've got a mortgage, you need to have insurance. And a lot of the insurance companies, the way they've got their policies written, it's very ambiguous as to whether or not you've got a legal garden. It's almost up to their discretion whether or not they're going to honor the policy.
And but that just sounds like, I mean, it's hard enough to get a claim through and get what you got to get to replace it anyways.
That's right.
I mean, nowadays most people, like I've got $1,000 deductible on my car insurance. It'd be a pretty damn big accident to even call. Because, I mean, a little fender bender, it's not even worth it. But the issue is you get 5 or 6 little fender benders. You shouldn't be driving anyways, but...
I think it depends on how new your car is. Some of them, if they have any of those kind of backup camera sensors in the bumper and you take one of those out, you're pretty close to $1,200 to get one of those put on.
Yep.
Popping up airbags, you're screwed. What are some of them 7 and 8 airbags in them?
Yeah.
At $1,200 a piece.
Wow. Are you serious?
That's what those things are worth to replace.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money, man.
You get a lot more than just a big bang.
Yeah.
You get a big bill.
You're pretty damn sure you're going to get some broken fingers too.
Yeah, or maybe a nose.
Depending on the car, you could write it off just because the airbags popped.
Yeah.
With almost no damage. If the airbags popped because it was just the right hard, boom, all you're done.
You might write off your face with it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's animals that get killed, kids, from their airbags. So,
yep.
There was another big
I've seen
recall.
the airbag go off on a driver once, and the first thing I noticed is it does is blows your hands off the steering wheel.
Yes.
Yep.
And then the second thing it does is it puts something in front of your face so you can't see where you're going anyway.
Yeah.
Pretty much you've already stopped at that point anyway. You've come to an abrupt halt at that point anyway, right, Chris? I
mean, you can clip
not if you get hit from behind.
Yeah,
that's true.
You can clip something and it pops, and you, like I said, now you have no hands on the wheel and you can't see.
You're careening. Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody runs into you from behind and sets off your driver's side airbag.
Yeah.
Does that happen?
Sure.
Yeah.
From behind?
Sure.
I thought there was like a thing in the front that did it, or like if you had side winds, there were side impact things.
That's why they have recalls to fix that crap.
Whoops! We put the trigger in the trunk.
They've got curtain ones that are right along the route down the side of the doors along your head.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Curtain ones. I've got those.
Yep.
And one in the seat.
Yep. So they can.
Yeah,
send
new car is
projectiles.
it's just a bomb waiting to go off.
Really, it is. It is. But think how you'll float if you end up in the water.
Yeah, this is true.
No, they pop. They
Yeah,
pop.
but you know what? They
They
probably have a sensor not to go off when they're wet or something.
Yeah. Sorry, buddy, you're sinking. No air in this bag.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We can inflate your car.
So Deb, what happened when you called Health Canada today?
Yes. I had a question with someone who had gone through a doctor in British Columbia over Skype previously when he was licensed under the MMAR, because his personal doctor in Ontario refused to even let him step foot in his office and mention that word at the same time. So he called out west, and they said, yeah, that's not a problem. We can do it for you. And he said, well, what about because you're in a different province? And they said, no, it's fine. It's good. So he said, okay. And he didn't really believe them. So he called Health Canada, and they said, no, that's fine. And he told me that. And I thought, okay, but Ross and I were discussing it, because when you actually look at the line in the regulations, it's a little bit ambiguous. So I phoned Health Canada and said to them, I live in Ontario. If I went to a Skype doctor in British Columbia or any other province other than where I lived, would they be able to sign my medical document so that I could send it in for the new regulations? And she said to me, as long as they sent you the original signed form to include with your application, it's fine. I said, so they couldn't fax it into you directly? She said, no. It has to be the original copy or the original form with your registration application together. She said they would have to send the original document to you in order to send it to us. They will not accept any facsimile copies from doctors whatsoever. So she said otherwise it would be fine. You could use a doctor, because the way it reads, if you don't mind, I just happen to have it here. It just it says that the that the is not entitled, a doctor or healthcare practitioner that is not entitled to practice their profession in the province in which the applicant consulted with that person. So it's just they don't have to have a license to practice where you live. They have to have a license to practice where they are and are consulting with you.
But the way they worded it makes it sound kind of like they have to be licensed in the province that you live in, and that was where there was some confusion, I think, on some people's part.
That's right, but it's not, and it is kind of ambiguous. It makes you think, oh, they have to be in the same province as the applicant, but no, they just have to be licensed in the province where they saw the applicant, and over Skype, that can be anywhere.
These people get paid big money to make this complicated. You figure for all the words that they use to write or say everything that they do, they could clarify this shit. Okay? Just write it down correctly.
Hey, guys, I just posted an article. It says UK set to legalize cannabis after Parliament recommendation.
Legalize medical cannabis?
I'm looking. Yes.
Yes, medical.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big step for the UK, because the UK is notoriously backwards when it comes to cannabis.
And then there's another one here. It says Seattle Traceability Company approved for recreational sales in Oregon.
Yeah, well, there's big bucks behind that one. Just ask Steve Elliott, right?
Yeah. Well, everybody's got to learn how to play along together, right? There's a little bit of something for everybody, I think. And
yeah, in Seattle, though, it's only for the people who've got the money. I mean, in Washington State. It's, you know what Steve said.
I know. I was here.
Yep, you were. We all were.
Yep.
And he said if he wanted to use, he said if you want to use Seattle as an example, he said if you want to use Washington as an example, use it as an example of what not to do.
Yep, and he actually was. I remember him saying he was begging Health Canada, somebody in the government, to listen.
Yep.
Yep. So on that note, we're going to listen to The Salads, Weed and Wine. This is the 420 radio show. We're still here for another half an hour. Come on in the chat room, say hello. We like to know somebody's listening. There's like 3 or 4 people in there, I think. It's all us.
Yeah, 3 or 4 of us in there, and Hillary.
And Nancy.
Oh wait, no, there's somebody else there.
Nancy is there too.
Yeah,
Nancy's there.
So is 7033339.
No, that was me. I was playing. They left.
Oh, that was you.
Oh, my dog sniffs some. She's sniffing. Somebody's here. She knows. Anyways, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back. This is the 420 Radio Show, live on 420radio.ca and Lifestyle Radio. The 420 Radio Show, live on 420radio.ca and Lifestyle Radio.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.